Yo, what's up guys? This is Technical Tim here, and I want to thank everyone so much who's been liking all the videos and subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate if you liked this video here, and actually if I get 50 likes on one of my videos this week, and the last one's at like 30 something already, but if I get 50 likes on one of my video previews, I'll go live on Saturday and give away all my picks for free. You know, I'm eventually going to go live all the time. It's just I want to get my subscriber total to around 1,000 before I start doing that. And I'm going to start going live twice a week, and then maybe at some point doing it just every day to where I could answer all your questions about technique, overall opinions about MMA, and anything about bets as well. But yeah, I'd really appreciate if you gave the video a thumbs up. But funny fucking story. I've recorded this video twice, and they were both with my screen, and they got taken down off YouTube immediately from the UFC copyright claim. I had my screen watching the second Rose Joanna fight, and it was on YouTube, and it was put up by the UFC for free. So I figured I could look at that. It wasn't like I was like, that I could share that. It wasn't like I was looking at Fight Pass. I thought it was okay, but it's the third time I'm fucking reviewing, doing this video. Hopefully this one works. I'm not going to share my screen on this one because I just want to get this out. Sorry. But it's the third fucking time I'm doing it, so don't be too mad. So this kind of sucked. But I really liked one of the videos I did. But I think I can get everything out by talking without the screen. Sorry if I'm like tired. I'm a little tired right now, but I should be able to get my point across on this fight. But I want to sorry, I just fucking rambled, but fuck the UFC for taking down my fucking video, so I have to do it again. But I'm going to give away a free pick here, and I'm going to only do one fight on this because I usually do a few fights per video now, but I think I can get my point across here by just, I just want to talk about one fight here. Sorry, I'm like my mind's all over the place, but I'm going to be playing, Jessica Andrade here against Rose Namajunas, and I think she's a clear value side. And there's kind of four main reasons why I'm playing her. So first of all, hold on, I gotta get Fight Metric up so I have all the numbers for you. But first of all, it's a hometown. Guys, like, hometown edge is huge, and Jessica Andrade is gonna have a massive hometown edge in this fight. And if you just think about the kind of fighter that she is, she's super aggressive and she gets big takedown slams, and that will get a big reaction from the crowd by her. She's also the one walking forward, so walking forward a lot, throwing a lot of punches, and getting big slam takedowns will really be cheered for and noticed by the Brazilian fans, who will be screaming at the top of their lungs whenever moments like that happen. And that's just going to sway the judges, who will probably be biased towards Jessica. And it's not because they're bad people. It's just, imagine if you were in the arena judging a fight and one girl like is getting cheered for everything she does and one girl isn't. You might notice the girl who's getting cheered for more. So hometown bias is huge, and just so you know, 60% of Brazilians win on the judges' scorecard in Brazil, and that's not by accident. And then the second big reason why I think that I kind of want to like talk about in this matchup is, so the first is the hometown, and the second is the striking statistics. And I want to bring this up. I wish I could share my screen with you, but I just want to get this out with you. But I'll just kind of tell you guys the numbers. But just so you know, Jessica Andrade has a big striking and output advantage here, and a better strike differential. So her strikes landed per minute are 6.58. Rose's is 3.72. It's almost double. And that whenever you count that big of a striking disparity and output disparity and the hometown judges, Jessica should be a pretty decent favorite just based on a couple of those alone. It almost reminds me of Usman Woodley a little bit. So that's a big one. And then as far as significant strikes absorbed per minute, Jessica Andrade absorbs 5.04 per minute. And compared to her 6.58, you think still a positive ratio, but damn, she gets hit a lot. That's probably what you're thinking. But remember I talked about in my fight metric video that you use fight metric, but you always have to adjust. And if you look at all of her fights, she pretty much outstrikes everybody and is usually doubling them up or even more sometimes. Like Jessica Penne 117-27 in favor of Andrade. Andrade against Gaudelia, 141-42. Andrade versus Torres, 92-69. Andrade versus Carolina, 38-24. That fight ended in a round, but Andrade usually gets the volume going even more later in the fight when she gasses opponents out. But she still was almost doubling up Carolina until she knocked Carolina's head into another stratosphere. So you look at that and you're like, oh, well, but she doesn't seem to be getting hit all that much. Why is her strikes absorbed per minute 5.04? It's skewed, and the reason is she got outstruck 225-83 against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and that completely fucked up all her statistics. So not only did it her strikes landed per minute of 6.58 are way higher if you throw out the Joanna fight, and the absorbed is way lower if you throw out the Joanna fight. So it really would be like 7.5 probably strikes landed per minute that she averages, and she probably only absorbs like 3. So she has an elite ratio. And I know you're probably thinking right now, why would you throw out the Joanna fight? I'll get to that. My third theme I'm going to be talking about is the striking styles, just stylistically, how some of these Andrade and Rose match up from a striking point of view and how they've matched up versus other opponents. So we're only focusing on numbers right now and striking statistics. So remember, that's the second theme we're talking about right now. First was hometown. This is striking statistics. We'll get into styles later. So yeah, I kind of proved my point on that. Andrade throws way fucking more. And then if you go to Rose, like I said, she lands 3.72 significant strikes per minute. Guess how much she absorbs per minute? 3.72. She hits people the same amount she gets hit. She does have a lot of pop, so not all strikes are created equal, but just kind of look at the numbers. Like, clearly she's pretty hittable, and she's not that busy. And funny story, her last fight against Joanna, if you rewatch that fight is fucking close. And I think the crowd was kind of pro Rose and swayed that a little bit. But that Rose isn't going to get that in Brazil against Andrade. Andrade is going to be swaying the judges with that Brazilian crowd. But she got outstruck 145-105. So, she got outstruck by Tecia Torres. She got outstruck by Carolina, 84-70. And so I just kind of want to throw that theme out there. Is if us betting Andrade, we have the way busier fighter in Brazil. The way busier fighter from a striking point of view. Do remember, some of these strikes are on the ground for both ladies, but generally, Andrade is a lot busier. So I just wanted to point that out. So, one, we got the hometown on our edge for Andrade, which is awesome. So she should probably be a bigger favorite just because of that. 2, she has a monster output advantage. And then 3, stylistically, I want to talk about like kind of how they match up and why people are kind of being they really seem to think Rose has a shot here, but I just want to talk about styles. So a lot of people are saying, well, Rose beat Joanna and Joanna beat Andrade, so she's going to win. We know that's MMA math. MMA math doesn't work. And that's the thing about styles making fights. I know this sounds cliche, but think of it as rock, paper, scissors, where you have Joanna and Rose and Andrade, and they're kind of rock, paper, scissors. You can have one girl beating one girl, that girl beating the next girl beating the first girl. It can just play out that way. It's styles. And I know they're all strikers, but striking styles are different too. And their 3 striking styles are all very, very different. So I want to point that out. And the thing is, people backing Rose can say that. People backing Andrade could say that too. I'm not saying this is why she's going to win, but if you think about it, Andrade dominated Carolina, who dominated Rose. So you could say Andrade is going to dominate Rose. So you could use the same logic, but that's fucking stupid because it doesn't matter. Styles make fights, and I'm going to talk about and kind of explain why that Styles making fights thing between the triangle of Andrade, Rose, and Joanna really matters here. So if you look at Rose, let's start with Andrade. If you look at Andrade, her style, pressure, pressure, pressure. We know that. It's worked on everyone. She dominates everybody. Who didn't it work against? Joanna. And the reason why, and I had the video up. I had videos to show until the fucking UFC took it down for copyright. But I'm not in trouble, guys. It just got removed. But if you watch, Joanna can actually pivot off. So anytime Andrade is moving forward to trap Joanna against the cage, Joanna would just pivot off. And so she wouldn't be there, and Andrade couldn't keep her couldn't catch her at the end of her punches. And Joanna can actually strike going backwards. Joanna will throw a jab going backwards. She'll throw leg kicks. She'll throw a straight right and be out of there, and she can just pivot away. She's amazing at pivoting. And if you go watch that fight, Jessica and Joanna, you'll see that the pivots are just working, and Andrade just can't catch her, okay? So that's really why Jessica couldn't beat Joanna, is because her pressure game isn't going to work against someone like Joanna. Joanna's too technical going backwards. And so now let's talk about Rose. If you go through Rose's fight, there's a lot of her recent fights. Michelle Waterson, Joanna. What's the big thing and the big theme in those fights of why she was successful striking? It's because she was not being pushed backwards. She was never being pressured. And I had this video to show too. Go watch the Joanna fight. Almost the entire fight takes place in the center. So there's black lines that are kind of by close to where the fence is. You would never be on the black lines in that fight. I mean, they were occasionally, but they were mostly right in the center because Joanna's not pressuring Rose, and that's where Rose can really succeed. She can get her strikes going by striking forward or by striking whenever both girls aren't advancing, kind of at a neutral position. If you go watch that fight, you'll see that. You'll see that Rose was never pushed on the back foot and never pressured. Michelle Waterson, same thing. And the big head kick she landed before she got the submission was whenever she was moving forward. What about Rose versus Carolina, her last loss? Go watch that fight. Carolina pressured her, and all of a sudden Rose became a lot more hittable. And why is that? Rose can't fight off the back foot. She can't fight going backwards, and she gets tired going backwards. She's obviously not comfortable fighting backwards, and it's way more tiring to fight backwards. Just you yourself, just go start throwing punches while walking forward, and then throw punches going backwards and act like someone's walking you down. The fatigue will be 2 times worse if you're fighting backwards, especially if you're not used to it. And that was the thing about Carolina. Carolina just kept walking her down, and Rose couldn't handle the pressure, and that's exactly what Andrade is going to do here. So that's why the Andrade, Joanna, and Rose dynamic exists, is because Rose can beat Joanna because Joanna doesn't pressure. Andrade can't beat Joanna because Joanna can fight going backwards, but Andrade could beat Rose because Rose can't fight going backwards. That's what's going to happen here. She's going to walk her down. She's going to land big punches. She's going to get her tired at some point. I expect Rose to have some success early, but eventually the fatigue's going to set in because Rose is going to be fighting going backwards for the entire fight unless if it ends. I think Rose needs to get a finish, to be quite honest, because she's going to get tired and the output's going to start weighing on her. And guys, just go watch that Carolina fight. You're going to see the dynamic I'm talking about. Rose she's so hittable going back. So that's kind of the main point that I wanted to bring up. So I've gone over the hometown. We got the hometown judges in our corner with Andrade. 2, we have the striking statistics. Andrade throws double the output. I mean, just let the stats do the talking for you. And number 3, stylistically, this is just a tough matchup for Rose. And a lot of people who are on Rose think she made some big improvement in her last 2 Joanna fights, but it was just, she doesn't look any different if you watch her versus Waterson or Carolina or Tisha Torres. It's just, she was fighting Joanna, who was playing her mid-range game and not pressuring Rose. She looked like the exact same fighter. It's just, she's a lot different versus Carolina, not because she was worse back then. It's just she can't fight going backwards. So stylistically, this is a tough one for her. And Andrade couldn't beat Joanna because Joanna can fight going backwards, and she's going to walk down Rose here, and it's going to be a tough night for Rose, unless if she can get a finish, which is possible. This is MMA. I'm not saying this is a lock or anything. I'm just saying Andrade is a good bet. And then number 4, I want to talk about the grappling real quick. I think the better wrestler here is Andrade. Her takedowns are kind of like, they're not very technical. She'll literally just get in close, throwing her hooks, and just drop down for a leg. Like, she doesn't actually even, like, shoot a double. Like, if you're a wrestling coach and you watch the way she shoots, you would yell at her. She'll just, like, bend at the waist and just pick you up and slam you. And I actually think that's going to work for Rose. Like, I think she's going to get takedowns here. Because even though it doesn't look pretty, it's actually, I mean, it looks cool. But I'm saying the actual takedown entry, if you're a wrestling coach, doesn't look pretty. But it's effective, and she was taking down Joanna a lot the more I watched that fight. Andrade was. It's just, Joanna has an amazing get-up game, and Rose doesn't have the same get-up game as Joanna. And so, yeah, I think the wrestling will go to Andrade here, and Andrade's defensive wrestling looks really good against Claudia Gadelha. But the main concern I have in this fight is Rose, even though I don't think she's an amazing grappler, I think she's very opportunistic with some of her back takes and her guard submissions. And I could see, because I did see Andrade gives up her back to get back to her feet against Gadelha. And we've seen Rose snatch in hooks. Like, if you give her her back, she will snatch that in. And she's pretty good at then getting rear naked chokes from there. And she did that versus, who was it? I think it was Michelle Waterson and kind of some other fights, but she's opportunistic. So I could see there being some openings, and Andrade, even against, I think it was Tisha Torres, she kind of keeps her hands on the mat, and I think she could be vulnerable to some guard submissions. So I could, and Rose has pretty good guard retention and throws up some decent arm bars and triangles. So I could see something like that happening, but I kind of think, guys, this is Rose submission or bust. I really do. KO. She knocked out Joanna. I think it's possible, but I think it's, if you're relying on a KO at women's 115, and Rose only has 1 KO in her career, although she did pretty much knock out Michelle Waterson, who's a club and sub, but KOs are pretty unlikely in this sport, and Rose's knockout power is going to be depleted because she's going to be going backwards so much, so it's going to go away quick. And she won't be able to get as much power into her shots going backwards because she likes to plant her feet when she throws. So I think KO is unlikely. I think the decision's really unlikely. I think submission, I think that's Rose's best chance. I think it's possible. Like, there's openings for it. But overall, I think Andrade is going to walk her down, be the busier fighter, get takedowns, mix them up. And I actually think she's going to finish Rose at some point. So, that's my breakdown for this. Sorry I didn't get to share my screen. I fucking tried, guys. I shot this 2 other times, and I think the video would have been a little better, but hopefully I got my points across, and I hope this was helpful for you. So don't bet the entire house on Andrade, but I'm betting like a similar bet as I did on Merab and Harris last week. She's currently like minus 110 or 120. Those odds might improve, so you might want to wait. But I think she wins this fight more like 65 to like kind of mid 60% of the time. And right now the odds are kind of implying she wins like 52 to 54. So we get a solid 10% advantage over the bookies, and you got to take it. So thanks so much. Like my video, please subscribe, and I'll send out another video tomorrow, and I'm going to be talking about all the fights. So thank you so much, guys. Bye.